Hear from players, coaches, and experts on all the latest happenings with the Cougars.
Mike is hot, Ben.
Welcome back, Cougar Sports, 103.9, 98.3, ESPN The Fan. I'm Ben Friddle, broadcasting from our Vanderwelt studios, vanderwelt.com. Get on a free Q&A. No obligation to invest. Q&A with our tax smart wealth advisors, certified financial planners. Nobody does it better than Blaine Anderson and his crew. It's time for a little world of BYU sports. Going to welcome in a Cougar Sports football player, former BYU wide receiver and insider, going to be brought to you by Utah Protective Films, utahprotectivefilms.com. If you're looking to get a car wrapped, get some window tint installed, or a chrome delete also installed, then hit up Utah Protective Films, utahprotectivefilms.com. Talk to my guy, Jared Bledsoe. He's going to take care of you. I mentioned myself for 15% off, 15% off, 15% off. 801-800-9767. That's 801-800-9767. That's utahprotectivefilms.com. All right, let's welcome in the jiu-jitsu master himself. That's right. We got Jared Bledsoe. Jared, what black? Are you a black belt in jiu-jitsu?
I am not. No.
What are you, brown?
No.
White?
No.
Orange? Red?
Neon green.
I'm definitely not a jiu-jitsu master. Let's put it that way.
He's a jiu-jitsu master. You do not want to roll around with this man.
I enjoy getting beat up by fellow jiu-jitsu.
You got like a little. You got a little Hoist Gracie like look to you though.
I have fun doing it. I enjoy
like you could probably pass you like
bring the mic closer to his face.
If you could speak Portuguese, like I feel like
I can actually.
Oh, you can?
So, yeah, interesting story. Yeah, no, I served my mission in Brazil.
Oh, dude, you could totally pass for a Gracie, bro.
This is a great segue because
this is awesome.
So listen to this. In 1994, right? I was a missionary in Brazil. In 1994, the U.S. hosted the World Cup in the United States. In 1994, Brazil won the World Cup. Right. So I got to experience what it's like to be in a country that sport, to have an entire nation devoted to one team and one goal is crazy. Yeah. The only thing I could tie it close to would be 9/11, right? For those of us that are old enough to understand that, what that felt like, as a unity thing. Like you'd have games like the Brazil national team was playing in the World Cup, but we're in a city of 1 million people, right? For 3 hours before the game starts, just everybody's trying to get home. The buses are super full, right? And when the game starts, we're walking around in a downtown of 1 million people, and there's not anybody in the street. There's nobody.
Nobody.
Every single person is watching that game. It's crazy, right? And then they won the World Cup, and that was just a celebration on top of the celebration. But, on July 4th, the United States played Brazil, right? It was here in the U.S. So I had a little companion, Elder Heinrichsen from American Fork, Utah.
Yeah.
And I said, look, dude, we're wearing blue pants, red ties, and white shirt. And I super glued an American flag on my bag, right, that I carried around.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a brick thrown at us. But we were respectable, right? We lost 1-0. It wasn't it was competitive. A blowout. It was a competitive game. Yeah. So, but a lot of fun that you bring that up. But yeah, I do speak a little Portuguese.
You could totally pass for a Gracie.
I actually went to jiu-jitsu class in Brazil on my mission, not knowing what it was.
So
at the time, yeah, that they were already. That was the early 90s, right? 93 to 95.
Yeah. So when I was introduced to MMA, like I had cousins that were really heavily into it, and and the Gracies were, that's what we talked about, like getting into the guard, arm bars, just like. Yeah. They taught me all of it, and I wrestled a little bit, so I was, it kind of helped a little bit when I was kind of learning.
I wish I would have wrestled now.
Yeah, you would have been actually really good. You got big hands. You can get some wrist control with those big old hands, those big old paws.
You have some strong hands.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Give myself a little.
No, I'm dead serious. I mean, because your weight class, what did you play ball at? High school ball. And high school, and then college.
High school was like 159.
So like you, like 155. You probably would have wrestled at in that 140 or something, because you were
skinny.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but if you're lean and you got big hands, you get good wrist control, and
Well, since we're talking, I got to give a shout out to our jiu-jitsu academy over in Saratoga Springs.
Oh yeah,
you got a Shark Tank Jiu-Jitsu. Come out for a free class.
Roll around.
Let them know you heard it on Ben Criddle. I might even sponsor you for a month of jiu-jitsu.
Let's go.
So we have kids classes and everything.
Cool.
Muay Thai, MMA. So really
I'm a huge advocate for young men to learn MMA. It doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. I mean, you can, but it doesn't have to just be,
well, it's just being confident in the moment that you need to be confident
and being a protector.
Right.
You know, you want to be a protector of yourself and others.
Right. Well, and you want to be confident in that time of protection. Like, you might feel like a tough guy, right? I think there's some really cool videos out there of when somebody knows jiu-jitsu, they just have an advantage to the guy who doesn't. Like training against somebody who has no skill at all.
Yep.
Is really easy. So having a child, especially a girl, that knows jiu-jitsu growing up, she's going to be able to hold her own and be confident to do it as well, even against bigger kids, because she'll be doing it all the time growing up. So anyways, it's great for young women, great for young men, and it's great for adults.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know. I see some injuries. I don't want to roll around too much, but I do see
it happens. But I mean, usually the injuries come because of an over-aggressive opponent. Is really what you're dealing with.
Hey, trust me, over-aggressive opponents in basketball still living their dream. Over-aggressive opponents still trying to live their dream in MMA, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, right? And they use a little too much muscle trying to do it, and they hurt people. So
gotta be careful.
The goal is not to hurt your teammates, right? It's to learn. So, anyways,
I do think it's just a segue for football. I think MMA is fantastic, and wrestling obviously as well. For football players, just kind of, especially the defensive line, offensive line, anything in the box, tight ends, linebackers. I think it's all beneficial. But even like as a defensive back, like my wrestling background and rolling around with my brothers and cousins and things of that nature, I couldn't be blocked. Like I was really good with my hand fighting. I was really good with my getting off blocks and understanding momentum. Kind of showing one way, grasping, throwing, tossing the other way, which is more judo. Right, it's more of like a judo throw.
You learn a lot of instinct. If you're already an athlete, all it can do is help. You do better in whatever that sport, especially a contact sport.
Yeah.
But your coordination is huge. Your hand-eye coordination. And you learn to easily survive under pressure. Like, wow, I can take a lot more than you think you really can.
Sure.
And that works out on the football field for sure. But I think the D linemen, we've had some younger kids come through that are playing football, playing at Westlake.
That's good.
And these guys are athletes, and they are really good on the mats too.
Let's talk some world of BYU sports, shall we? What's on your mind today? What have you been monitoring in the world of BYU sports recently, Jared Bledsoe?
Well, I think that it's fun to see what you guys did. I've never been to
Big 12 Media Days,
like that kind of stuff.
It was awesome.
It seemed pretty cool to go to and just spend some one-on-one time with players. And so your interviews are great. They're fun to hear from those guys. And these are the guys that are they matter, and this is it. This is a big year coming up for each one of these guys, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. I think that we're setting ourselves up for an excellent season, and avoid some injuries, and we're going to go really far. I think we've got, and look at the recruiting, man. It's just coming together nicely, right? I'm real happy to see how the recruiting's been going as well. So.
Yeah, there was a few other commits when we were out at, I think, Big 12 Media Days, if I'm not mistaken. We had another Satawala commit while we were out there, his younger brother. So shout out to Satawala for committing to BYU. So right now we have 14 hard commits: Uhila Wolfgram, Blake Wong, Jeremiah Williams, Ryan Wooten, Kyle Nabratsky, Kamoni Adams, Mayumoa Hafili, DeMichael Burks, Peyton Higginson, Ezra Sanalivi, Lakepa Satawala, Jackson Rex, Titan Young, and then James Thorley. Those are your commits.
And I'll say that there's definitely a handful of those guys that we would not have gotten in the past. We would not. We would have been in the running, and tell me when the last year that you've really had a full vision of seeing the last three schools were BYU, Oklahoma, and Michigan, right? But BYU's in the mix, right? We used to not be in those mixes, and so it's cool to see, even though some of them choose other schools, a handful of them are choosing BYU. And I just feel like what Kalani and the team and the staff are doing right now is building a culture that'll bring these guys in when before we would have lost them. In Oklahoma versus a BYU was almost like really, it wasn't even a situation I think where they debated it too much, so and today we're winning those guys.
Love that. one of the questions I'm going to pose to you, was there any interview that you liked the most out of the Big 12 Media Days, by the way, that you were able to hear when you were roaming around and listening from afar? Shmev was great.
Yeah. I've had a lot of time when I've been in where I get my tickets and stuff with player stuff. I sit by his parents a lot, super good people, really, really enjoy talking to them. And then seeing some of, his dad's accolades in football is really cool as well. And it's and then to hear that I didn't know he came basically without offers, right?
Zero offers, man.
See, that's crazy. And then was it also the center from North Summit? I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, Bruce Mitchell. So crazy. A couple of the gems that I loved were Bruce Mitchell telling us that Elisa Tuiaki was the one that found him.
Yes, I loved it. Yeah.
And then Evan was Kevin Clune. Yeah. No one ever talks about Kevin Clune anymore. Like, he was there for a minute, then gone. But Evan Johnson was recruited by Kevin Clune. He found him. He said, look, we need to offer this guy.
He found him not because he was being recruited by everybody else, right? And I think that's how a lot of it's like you go through the list of, these schools are looking at these guys. I'm going to look at these guys. Like, they had to go find him and bring him in. I would be interested to see what that connection was initially, if that maybe came from Evan's brother or how that connection all came about. But to see him today in the top, 10 corners in the nation. I think I saw him at one of the polls at 9th. That's incredible to see where he's been. And I think he is poised to have a huge year this year and with a lot of transition, a lot of change in the offseason, with coaching. And so there's a lot to take in a short period of time before the season starts. But these guys are so good. We got a good group.
So the guys that were at Big 12 Media Days from BYU, Bruce Mitchell, Evan Johnson, Bear Bachmeyer, LJ Martin. Who else was out there, Ronnie? Who else did we interview? Oh, yeah, Keanu Tanavasa. Yeah, Keanu Tanavasa and Isaiah Glasker. So interestingly enough, so let me give you a breakdown. So we already know Evan Johnson was recruited by Kevin Clune. Found him, recruited him, okay? And Evan had 0 offers pretty much. Bruce Mitchell, 0 offers, only BYU offer. Like, we're not talking like Weber, Utah Tech, SUU.
These are like pushing All-Americans.
Yeah,
right now.
Like literally, they're NFL draft picks.
Like,
both of them, they could be mid-round to second-day draft picks.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here with these two.
Not everybody.
There's going to be 10 players taken possibly from BYU in this next year's draft. Evan and Bruce are 2 of them. So Evan was recruited by Kevin Clune, and Bruce Mitchell, Elisa Tuiaki. Isaiah Glasker was found by Preston Hadley. His only other offer was Weber State. At least he had Weber State.
That crazy?
At least he had Weber State. Okay,
but he was a receiver, and you had to see.
He was a defensive back,
and a
wide receiver,
right?
Yeah, he was a safety.
That a lot, that, and that's what's the interview that you did with the center, and you were talking. I've known Jay Hill forever, and when I heard Jay say, you'd probably be a better O lineman. That was like, hey, I see it. I was a head coach. I know it. I see it. But he's not going to say, we're going to move you. It's like, do you want it? I'm going to hand you this gift that let you know that this is where I think you're going to be the best.
Here's a gift.
And it's cool because, man, it's tough sometimes to be a player in that situation. And you're hearing from your coordinator, go to the other side of the ball. And you could take it wrong and it could ruin your whole season and your career in college. And he took it the right way and turned it into something awesome. So pretty cool story, I think, I think it's going to be super fun. We got a good group.
Bear Bachmeyer obviously was recruited by everybody. So, I mean, including A-Rod. A-Rod was the one that was all in on him, right? LJ.
Until he makes
Harvey.
a bad call during a game.
Yeah, and then fire.
Then we're out for his head.
Burn!
Did you really try a play-action pass at 3rd and 11? What?
You did a draw on 3rd and 11?
No,
it reminds me of Monty Python in the Holy Grail. Like, burn him! Burn! He's a witch! He's a witch! He turned me into a nuke. You know what I mean? Like, it's like he's just going from 0 to 100, man. Burn him! Kill him! Fire him!
Oh, he's the best thing that ever happened.
Oh, that's such a great call. Man, that's a great call. Fantastic call. But
saved the day. But with that 4th and 1.
Remember
the 4th and 1.
If he keeps doing that, he should be fired. I think people have come around. I do think people have come around with A-Rod. I think this last year, seeing what he did with Bear, recruiting Bear, getting Bear from the portal.
Those that are
getting
willing,
rider lines too.
Yeah, those that are willing to see it that way.
But then, like schematically, I think we were like I said this at the beginning of last year. I said, look, with Jake leaving, A-Rod's earning his paycheck this year. He's going to earn his paycheck because it's not easy starting a true freshman quarterback and winning with a true freshman quarterback.
I don't think
and turning a true freshman quarterback into better than what you had, arguably.
Oh, by far, yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah,
like that's a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bear deserves credit too. I'm not trying to undermine Bear, but like at the same time, like A-Rod orchestrated, architected, schemed this up, and utilized the talent.
Thing I like to say is, A-Rod is in his ear, right? So when he is talking to one person, well, but so you got to remember that because that's A-Rod talking in his helmet, a lot of the reads and stuff are coming because he's seeing what he needs to see, and they talk up into that certain spot. So as long as he has the ability to talk, I mean, you think about it, the guy in your ear is the person that's pulling the strings, and he did, Bear did an amazing job of executing when he was called on, and that's why you think of what A-Rod did with him as a freshman. Holy cow, man, he's gonna really be able to just unleash his offense that I don't think he's ever done before. I don't think A-Rod, I've known him forever, and I think he's always held back certain things of what he wants to call, sometimes based on personnel, sometimes based on saving your career and job. I think flow into that a lot, unfortunately, but it does. But I think that he's ready to unleash an offense that has some twists and turns that he's got so many weapons. Holy Moses. And as long as the receivers do what I think they're going to do and get involved quick, it'll be really, really fun to see what A-Rod does this year.
Do you think we see the return of the trick play? Because last year, 2 years ago, that was a big thing. Every game, there was one trick play that went for 40, 50 yards.
Right.
Last year, none of the trick plays worked, and they gave up after 4 games.
I wouldn't say I'd have to go back and review. I don't know if none of the trick plays worked.
They were always had Parker throwing, and those just the
special
film was out on that. Like people read that like a book. It felt like.
Yeah. No, I know A-Rod likes to mix it up like that, and throw stuff in where it's like the second play of the game all of a sudden is this stupid trick play that works or call it stupid, but.
Yeah,
they're what make football fun. It would be. But anyways, yeah, I think that it'll be interesting to see if he mixes more of that. But if he's confident in executing it, I don't see why he wouldn't. Because I think that opens up and it keeps the defense honest a lot of times where they can't. There might be a play later in the game where they think maybe it's this because of the play that they ran, and that's kind of the mind game of the offensive coordinator versus the defense is, get them second guessing what they're seeing. And we only need a split second for them to second guess where we can then capitalize and get a few extra yards or whatever.
So, I mean, let me chime in real quick on, before we go to break on this phenomenon of to a certain degree, like a project player, raw project players that you develop. Remember, football is still very much a developmental sport. Nutrition, strength and conditioning, schematic, technique, like clay turned into artwork many times. The Ziggy Ansah path, right? There's plenty of those stories. Not plenty, but there are those stories. In the initial Kalani era, you had Ed Lamb, Elisa. They were very heavy on the project player. They didn't have as many competing offers, these players. None sometimes. You bring them in, they're going to choose BYU, they're bought in, and they develop into something great. All three of these guys are examples of that. Half of your leadership at BYU that went to the media days are project players that turned into NFL draft picks. And you have to win. You got to win early. You got to win now. You got to win this year. So there's a balance between project player and like that 4-star player that is proven and has the length and tangibles, right? So it's interesting.
They're all in the Big 12, full Big 12 era, right? Recruiting classes.
Yeah, well, no, not necessarily because
That's when it.
no.
That's when it changed.
No,
in my
they
opinion,
were
a little
not.
bit
They were
more.
these. All three of those guys are more independent.
They're before
era.
independent, yeah. Which
That's what I said.
which I
Like,
think is what you're going to too is as we joined the Big 12, that's when things I think started turning different, where the tide started turning more, where BYU was a consideration when you were looking at an Oklahoma or a Miami, or and I think that
my question is, do you still go out and try to find these project players, right? And how many of those are on this particular recruiting streak? Like, for instance, like Satuala is not a highly rated national product. He's 17th in the state, which is solid. It's a solid. He's a solid in-state recruit, and we know what we have in Falatau, and he's part of the BYU family. He's a legacy player, but he's an 86, which is good. It's not like but like the state of Utah class is actually really good this year. But Titan DeYoung, who was the initial commit to this class, is 28th in the state. Owen Leishman's another guy that I think could commit, and I think he's further down on the list. It's not like he's like the.
I just don't buy into the rankings like this as much as some people do, where you want to see.
But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because you're like, hey, we've never been in this situation with like the hats of Michigan,
right.
Michigan,
BYU.
We
had it, and you see it now. It's not the one or two in the recruiting class that we're competing with them. There's a lot of the recruits are now competing at major schools with BYU in the recruiting, and I love it. I think it's great. And the fact that BYU's in that top 3 for most of these guys is a win for BYU right now. Mm-hmm. And I think we just keep doing what we're doing, but we're getting a lot of great recruits, but there's going to be some golden young guys that come into the group that weren't recruited, because that's what every recruiting guy is looking for. Who's that under-recruited guy that we can get, nowadays get at a deal, right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
I think
I want an Evan Johnson, right? I want Isaiah Glasgow. Like,
they still are.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a part of me that's like, hey, you still want those guys, because the reason why they've been at BYU for so long and they didn't transfer.
They've been developing into who they are now.
Well, not only that, it's because BYU believed in them from the beginning when they were nothing.
Yeah.
And so there's a loyalty there. Now, like I said, you got to have balance in all things. You got to go get the 4 stars. You got to get the high level 3 stars. You got to go get the 5 stars, etc. But there is virtue in that developmental piece still to this day at BYU. And I caught up with Brumfield, starting off at tackle for BYU from like 89 to like 92. Played in the league for like 9 years. He went to Dixie State. He was a project. They brought him in. French, saw him. Loved him.
Coach French, good.
Got him in, bulked him up.
Yeah.
He was a 9-year NFL guy.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? 9 freaking years in the NFL. But late bloomer, project, tall, lanky, goes down to Dixie State, plays a year or 2, comes up, played with Jack DeMooney, and then balled out for Brigham.
Yeah.
That was another project player. JUCO project player a little bit. So anyway. Jason Buck at a high school, at like St. Anthony, goes to Rick's, right? Develops there. Anyway, there's a
Steve Young.
Yeah, Steve was 7th. He was 9th string, right? That whole story. So I don't know. You do gain a certain amount of like loyalty in the modern day NIL transfer portal world with finding those project players and believing them and developing them. And BYU still, I still think they should try to find those project players, not go all in on them like we were doing before, but because you can't hit on all of them. But I love that developmental path, and I think it does create a ton of great culture at BYU.
Well, I feel like they still are, because even if you look at last year's very highly ranked class, there's still a couple guys in there. That Graham Livingston, his competing offers were Utah, California, Utah State, and Weber State. It's not like he was highly
solid.
I feel like you're still getting a few of those guys.
We're talking absolutely no offers. Evan Johnson, Bruce Mitchell, and the best offer was Weber State.
Right.
Out of those 3.
I'm just saying, I still think BYU is still going after some of those under-recruited guys, because Graham Livingston, if I'm being honest, I feel like Graham Livingston heavily under-recruited for the production he gave. His knock was that he was at a lower class of high school. But, I mean, he produced – I think he set a state record in Utah for most receiving yards in his season or something like that.
He was good.
But, like, Zephaniah Alatini, I mean, Sacramento State with UNLV, Arizona, California. Those are his competing offers.
Those feel like the normal.
But you at least have powerful offers.
offers.
We're talking about, like, no competing offers.
Yeah.
We're talking about, like, when I say project player, it is not I had an offer from a lower tier Power 4 team. No. We're talking I had Utah Tech or nothing and BYU. Brady, do you know who Brady Christensen is? Do you know who Brady Christensen is?
Yes.
You got to get the break, Ben.
Okay, like Brady Christensen, if I'm not mistaken, let me just pull it up just to double check here. He didn't have anything, bro. Like
nothing.
He did not have he was a 2-star recruit in the state of Utah. 2-star recruit. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like maybe it was SUU that kind of came in late and we're like, yeah, we'll offer you. He was at a Bountiful. And like, I want to say somebody fell through the cracks or somebody fell through, didn't commit. And so 2J reached out and said, hey, Brady, I really like you. I think you're an athlete. I'm going to offer you. And you got Brady Christensen. Brady Christensen's in the National Football League. Right. Brady Christensen had one of the best pro days like ever. After COVID, like one of the most athletic guys to ever come through BYU as an offensive lineman. Had like, I think he may be the most athletic per the RAS score, the relative athletic score, where you compare the objective metrics of your pro day or combine to everybody else at your position in NFL history. And he's like the most athletic guy that have come out of BYU, and he's like in the top 1% of athletes in that position. So anyway,
that's cool.
So I don't know. I look at this and I'm like, wow, like that's incredible, right? That BYU and BYU deserves credit too. Kalani deserves credit as well. We got to go to break, guys.
Yeah.
But much love to you, Jared. Utah Protective Films. Why should we get our cars wrapped, tinted, and chrome deleted at Utah Protective Films? UtahProtectiveFilms.com.
Give us a call. Make sure that you let us know that you heard of us at Ben with the Ben Criddle, so we can give you the 15%.
Demand the Ben Criddle discount.
We'll take care of you. 801-800-9767.
60 seconds, Ben.
There you go. All right, guys. That's our segment, and it was brought to you by Utah Protective Films. UtahProtectiveFilms.com. Make sure you mention myself when you head over to Utah Protective Films to get your VIP products, VIP service, VIP discounts. Isaiah Glasker, we caught up with him at Big 12 Media Days. You're not going to want to miss this. Get to know I on the reel coming up next. This is Cougar Sports, 103.9, 98.3 ESPN The Fan.